Oh my God. I'm so excited to talk with you, to say the least, because what a season, Q. What an
Man,
absolute season.
Mike, we have a lot to talk about, a lot to unravel. I know everybody's like, what the world? Who is this guy? He's just a lunatic now. I'm just a creative soul, baby.
Well, let's start unzipping the proverbial Q skirt here. Let's start reaching in and pulling stuff out. And I want to start with what you didn't pull out of the Q skirt last night.
Yep.
I cannot believe this is the fourth week in a row that I'm starting an interview off with this question, but you found the idol. I know you had said, like, I just need to make it through this round. I played at 5. I'm at 4. As you told me out there in Fiji, that I'm making that effing fire. But I would imagine in retrospect, there are conversations, things you think about, and you say, oh man, I really should have seen the writing on the wall that I was
Well,
done. So talk to me
yeah,
about what led to that decision.
yeah. So first of all, I went into that tribal saying I wasn't going to play it.
Mm,
I said I told myself after I done the math, I was like, okay, either I go home, which I've been fine with going home. Going home is don't scare me.
true.
You know what I mean? So either I go home or I guarantee myself final three. Because if I make it through that vote and I play my idol, there's no one there that could beat me in fire. Like they didn't stand a chance
Mm.
at fire making. Promise you that. So that was the risk that I kind of ran. But I saw the game, I guess, a little different. And as at that moment, Charlie had won two immunities. He hadn't pissed anybody off. And it was just one of those things like, okay, would they take a shot at that versus the complete opposite? I hadn't won any immunities. I pissed everybody off. And I'm thinking their head is in the game. But they were all so fascinated with me that I even lost the touch of how fascinated that these people were of me and how they wasn't playing the game to play. I heard people out there talking about they want to vote people off because they would get more TV time done. I should have been like, these are the type of people I'm playing with. Why would I think that they're going to make the right move that I would make? But at the same time, they did make the right move because let me just say, if I make it through, dude, I can talk, I can explain stories, and it's going to be trouble for whoever's in that final three with me.
I wanted to talk about that, yeah, because it seemed like you had already been eyeing your position at the end. But to your point, you look over at that jury, and there were some people that were not necessarily your biggest fans, for lack of a better term, by the
Yep.
time that you sat on the jury. So, what did you think your chances were, considering that yet again, this would feel like a circumstance where you'd have a lot of ground to make up?
Yeah. So I felt like from the very start of the game, and I said it a whole lot out there, I can beat anybody. I don't
Mm,
care who I go to the end with, which two, I can beat them. Why? Because my ability to not crumble under the pressure when it comes to talking and explaining and being able to be honest and showing them why I did certain things would prevail versus some other folks that are not used to it. And I knew that. So I thought I would win because you gotta remember for 17 days in a row, that was my beach. I was the king. I was calling the shots. I was running the show. One day on day 18 was a slip up. But then by day 21, I had started to regain footing. I had
mm.
started to influence decisions and votes and put things out there and make plans and talk to people and rekindle relationships and apologize. So I was 4 days down. So you got to think a story of a survivor who's been on top. Then he crumbles down to the ground, but then he makes his way back and survives all the way to that's a story that I can explain. And all the stuff about, well, Q, tell us about tribal when you volunteered to go home, you tried to quit. Let me let me explain something to everybody.
Please.
It I was never ever trying to quit. I'm man enough to where if I want to leave, like if I want to say, you know what, I'm done with this, it's too much for me, I'll get up and I will leave.
Mhm.
I won't ask for permission. I would walk out the door. What happened is in my life, if I do something wrong, if I do something that I think cause chaos and problems that is beyond the game,
Mm,
I'm the person that says, you know what, I did that. I should take responsibility for it. And if you guys were to do that, I would be okay with it. It wouldn't sit well with me if I didn't. You see what I'm saying? So let me give you more context. So for
please.
that, on that night that I did it, what happened was Liz, I told Hunter about Liz's plan.
Mm,
Hunter went to Liz, and in that moment, I wasn't there for the conversation, but all I see is Liz crying and Liz coming. This is before the Applebee's now. So this is, I'm still, me and Liz are still somewhat, we're not enemies yet. But Liz come up and she's crying. This is the same Liz that's all day been so excited about, she's about to blindside Tevin. She's about to do all this stuff. Now she's suddenly crying and saying, okay, I will vote Tiff. And I'm like, whoa, I'm one of 17 kids. I only have 4 sisters. That brought me back to like, wait, this little girl, which is the same size as my sisters, actually.
mm,
I'm like, she's crying. She was excited earlier because Hunter now, I told Hunter he would have never known, he would never do, I screwed her plans up. But then also, on top of that, I was like, dang, man, I didn't do right about Tevin. If he's in my lines, he's part of my 6. I created this. I should have been trying to fight for him harder, or I should have at least told him. So I
mm.
started to feel like, man, I let him down too. I can take the bullet for him. Why? Because 17 of those people, Mike, were there for the $1 million. I was there for the title. That's all I wanted. The $1 million is great. It wouldn't change my life. So it's like now I'm weighing, okay, Tevin actually wants the money. Like it would change his life. He's about to go home. I didn't do right about him. Liz is crying. I didn't do right about her at this time. I'm going to raise my hand and admit that I screwed up and I'm willing to take the heat. Now, they didn't take me up on that offer. So now that's the offer is off the table. I did my part.
Yeah. So to that point, I mean, to say that you become a pariah of the tribe would be an understatement. And really, the narrative from then on for you is, to your point, scraping your way up from the bottom, and maybe not necessarily help from a social perspective by things like the Applebee's or, getting into arguments with people. So talk me through like how you handle that. Cause like you said, you are no stranger to pressure. But I would imagine, to your point, having this 17-day game crumble to the ground and you have to basically rebuild this house from square one was a task in and of itself.
It was a task, but it was one of those things I knew I had to disappear for a couple of days. And as far as like the Applebee's stuff and still arguing with folks, listen, Q is going to be Q. It doesn't matter the circumstance. I'm not going to tuck my tail and stop being me just because, oh, they may vote for me. No, I'm going to continue to be me. So, again, if I make it to the end, I can tell my story. I can tell them I played my way. I didn't allow anybody to dictate the way I played, the things I did, the things I said. And for that, it wasn't like I was being malicious. I wasn't out there just pushing people down and cursing them around. No, it was within the game. It was chaos. It was chaotic. And just think of everybody that you've interviewed so far, they said that I'm the reason their game crumbled.
Mm,
If you really think about the game of Survivor, that's how it should be. I should be out there not allowing them to play the game that they want to play. I should be out there creating the chaos that makes them have to shift and now rethink or pivot or hesitate. There's nothing wrong in that. That's Survivor, but it's old school Survivor. And they weren't used to somebody just openly just playing a game of Survivor the way I did. And that's the uniqueness, is because everything I ever done was never told to anybody, not even production. So production was caught off guard most days. Like the Applebee's stuff, that wasn't planned. The hide and seek, it wasn't planned. It was just something that I thought of on the spot. The Q skirt stuff, it wasn't planned. It was something thought of on the spot. So all this stuff was just like boom, it happens, and everybody's like, what the world is going on? That's the difference in what I brought and everyone else. And that was going to be the difference that I could explain to them at the end to make them even see. But I also understood that I had to go to the end with the right people.
Hmm.
Because it doesn't matter what I did. If I go to the end with certain people, then here we go. So
Well, who does that include? Who were you eyeballing to sit next to?
me personally, if I had my choice, meaning if I'm in the game and I run it the way I run it, it would have been Ben and Liz. Simple. I would have never, ever, 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 and I did not ever, never, ever target them because it was just one of those things. Again, if I got through that boat, that means Charlie goes home.
Right.
Now it's Maria. Now people say, well, Q, you and Maria, y'all so tight. Had I would have won the 5, I probably would have pushed votes on Maria. If Maria would have won, at some point, she wasn't going to win. We was going to be making fire against each other. I was going to
Mhm.
beat fire. I mean, it's just that simple. So I was going to have my way eventually with the 3 that I needed to be in the end with. So it didn't work out, but it's one of those things. I swung the bat every single time at the plate, every single day, trying to hit the ball. I didn't want to get walked. I wanted to hit the ball.
Well, to that point, I mean, you talk about, keeping your game sort of to yourself from everybody else, but what was your reaction to sort of your perception? Because look, I mean, you had been called a villain. Ben called you a bit of a bully. These
Uh,
have been things that have been thrown out amongst the people that were around you. Was that something you knew? And what was your
yeah,
reaction to that? Because I also know from the Ben note, Kenzie kind of noted yesterday, right? Like, these two do not talk to each other.
yeah, yeah. So it was one of those things. Me and Ben had a conversation after the 10 vote that did not go so pleasant.
Hmm.
It's one of those things because Ben, um, he kind of did not like talking strategy that much. And it kind of ticked me off when I would ask him something and he was just kind of give me a bullshit answer. So a BS answer. So I'm the type of person, I'll call you out on that. Like, come on, dude. You want to work with me? Cool. Go your other way then. But at that point in the time in the game, also, again, I was running things. They were seeing it, but it was nothing they could do about it. It
Hmm.
was nothing they could do about it at that time. So when they call me a bully and all this stuff, no, I'm not a bully. Like, give me your lunch. I'm a bully, as in get out the way. I'm here and I'm playing, and I don't have to say it. And that's the kind of bully I guess they perceive me to be. But at the end of the day, again, it was never malicious. It was never a point to where I thought these people actually hated me to a point to where they wouldn't vote for me at the end. That's why I thought I still had a shot. And even when I got to Pondy, they all told me I still had a shot. So,
Oh, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, just really quickly, what was that reaction like to go back to all these people who
uh,
had left in lieu of you thinking it was you?
yeah. So it was wonderful. It was awesome to just go, and it's all about how you bring yourself to the party. If I would have went over there mopey and man, y'all get out of my face, it probably wouldn't have went well.
Mm.
But because I'm the hey, what's up, y'all? I love y'all, man. Appreciate y'all. And they're singing, they're embracing me with open arms. It was, man, magical. I got so much food when I got to Pondy. Yeah, I ate 23 sleep. Listen, it was so much pizza I ate. It was crazy. I lost count. It was at least 23. Had the Applebee's, but when I got to Pondy, oh my man, I was eating like a king, brother. But just to hit on some things, we hadn't talked about, there was no point in the game to where I was ever going to quit or felt like I wanted to quit because I couldn't do it. If it came up, which it came up twice, which is the first time, it was literally maybe a minute and a half of after losing the challenge, just being like, dang, bro, I could
Mm.
have sunk the bag and I didn't, bro. I should be the one on the chopping. That's all that was. It wasn't a no, please vote me. No. the second one, again, it was just one of those things. I felt I'd done something wrong and I raised my hand, so.
Well, Q, suffice it to say, I joined the throng of people that absolutely loved getting to watch you on the show. Like you said, you were chaos incarnate, and it brought so much enjoyability to this season. So thank you, as
Man,
always, not only for bringing yourself to, like you said, swinging the bat, not only every minute of the game, but every minute of this interview, man. I love getting the chance to chat with you.
yes, sir. Man, I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Mike.
Of course, all the best to you and yours and to that impending trip to Applebee's. And looking forward to seeing what happens next, man. Take care.
Let's do it.
All
Peace.
right. Have a good one, Q. Bye.